Hey, this is Robert Core. This video is going to be a little different from what I've been doing up to now in my channel. So what I'm going to be doing is critiquing people's work that they've submitted to me. I put out an ask on Reddit to find out what kind of videos I could get, and I got a few submissions. Not many, but a few. Hopefully this video initiates more submissions, and then I can get into more of a regular cycle of critiquing. This is something I really like doing a lot, and I'd really like to continue doing it in the video form and hopefully helping somebody out, becoming better, as well as getting better for myself at giving critique and feedback. So let's have a look at this group of submissions. All right, diving right in, this first submission is from BRM. For now, I am using a site called SyncSketch, which lets me review and annotate over video. There's other pieces of software out there, but this is what I have access to, and it works pretty good. So I had to convert this GIF to an MP4, so the quality is a little low, but let's take a look at it. Usually when I'm looking at something new, my first goal is to kind of figure out what is being said, what is the point of the video. So looking at this, I see that a character seems to be scared by some kind of noise, which we can't hear because this is a GIF. And then there's a logo that pops up at the end. If that is not what BRM was assuming, that's probably a very top level thing to think about. Like, what is the purpose of what I want to convey? Next, looking at this is timing. If we scrub through, we can kind of see what's going on. So the eyes open up, and then he looks in each direction. So I like that we have the eyes here. And then he is looking for where the eyes went, because now the eyes are over here. So that's really good. So at least you're understanding the concept of overlapping action. We're not having him look at the eyes, because the whole point of what you're trying to get is he's probably hearing something and wants to look at it. And then he's kind of looking around trying to find it. Then he shrugs and a logo pops up. Very top level, you probably would want to have the logo for more than a few frames. By the fact that this is only 24 frames long, it makes me think that this was some sort of made in some sort of software that might have a limit of the number of frames. But I'd probably, if you are able to, I'd probably have the logo up there a bit longer, because when you loop it, it plays back very quickly and you don't really have enough time to read the logo. And that's kind of like, from a top level standpoint, everything that you should be thinking about. Is it readable? Can I fully understand what is being conveyed visually? So the other thing is that we probably should have more of a hold between these. Like if I were doing this, I'd probably time this whole portion out where he's looking left and then looking right, and slowing that part down. Probably like if I'm going to act it out, I'm hearing, let's see if I can adjust my hand. Yeah, look at my glove. If I hear a noise over here, I'm like, boop, whoa, and then it's gone, or boop, wait, what is that, and then something over here, and then maybe it's like there's like a take, like, wait, what, kind of like that kind of look around. So what I'm seeing is looking left and then looking right. So right now they're just kind of, the moves are just kind of countering each other. They're not really responding to one or the other. So the easiest way to do this is probably to animate the eyes first, where you want the eyes to go and how you want them to move. Have a bit more hold. So what you would do is the blink would happen here, it would move, and then we would hold a bit longer here and allow this frame to kind of linger a little longer so we can get to see this moment longer. You'd get a lot of legs out of improving this by just adjusting your timing, like putting in holds for a few more frames and strategic parts. Offhand, I would right on this frame, on this frame, on this frame. You have a hold here, which is good. So you need a pause for the shrug. From a creative perspective, it would be nice. I'm always kind of trying to think of a better way to bring something on, even if it's just type, because my day job is kind of semi-integrated with motion graphics. So a lot of what I'm always thinking about is there a better way to animate this object on than just have it fade in or slide in from the left, right, top, down, or from like scaling. So like, does this animate on? Does it like does it maybe start smaller? Maybe, let's see, maybe it's like this and this. Need to make it consistent, so I'll just trace this last frame quickly. What you're basically trying to always do is think, is there a way I can make this not normal? Can I make this a little bit better? So obviously if it animates on, you would need to probably start this animation sooner or have the whole thing extend out longer. So another thing, so let's get into the character. So one thing that you can do is you can do a lot with the eyes. So before, when this happens and he looks, maybe before, when his eyes are not here, so pretend that we're having a hold here and when the eyes are just not here. One thing to do is maybe have the eyes look first, then have the head turn. So it's like, you know, or you can also do a bit of a compression. So maybe maybe your character kind of gets down a little bit. Like, I'll get better at this in time. So maybe they're like, what? You know, kind of. So what you want to always think of is progressive action. So it's about having your action build over time by like changing position. Right now, everything is very linear and in the head move. And what you would want to do is maybe kind of change that head motion and kind of maybe get more push. So when he's looking like left, he's going, what? Sorry, I think this is the opposite in the video because the video is mirrored. So when he's looking what's to my left, he would go, what? And then swing around and go to the other end. Which then leads me to another thing to think about is when you're doing a head rotation, you obviously want more than one frame in the move. But like, see this in-between frame here? Probably want to close the eyes minimally. It'll help the turn feel a little bit better. But one thing you'd really like to do is have the head look down. Just a little bit. So when we turn our head, we don't turn our head like this. We create an arc. And you always want to think about, where can I insert an arc? So what you do is insert an arc in that head turn, and that would create more change in progressive action. So those would be kind of my minimal notes. This shrug isn't bad. I think you kind of get that, and it is one thing to keep in mind is, you know, this is a semi-limited style, so we want to kind of evaluate it from that standpoint. I'm not critiquing the design at all. I'm just critiquing how it's animated. So yeah, the shrug's really not bad. I mean, I think the key is that it comes off as a shrug, and I think that's a win that you did that. So I feel like in this piece, there's a lot of very minimal changes that BRM could make to actually make this piece a lot better. Moving on to the next one. This is from DestroyerR2L2. Here, let's play that quickly. So this thing's kind of funny. I'm guessing for a minute, the first time I kind of saw this, I thought it had to do with the bell. I guess it's kind of that scribble that the Peanuts characters have when they get angry. And then he's so angry that he breaks the scribble and then slams it to the ground. So that's a cute concept. One thing, so I'll point out the things I like a lot. I like the smear that you did on the hands here. That's a really nice smear, and that you're even thinking about smears. That's really cool. I think the Other successful thing is I feel overall the timing feels good. I guess where I would start to say this could use work, this is also kind of limited, would be the same thing that BRM had, which is change of action and progressive action. So right now you see his body is kind of centered the whole time. So if I create a box here, so if you see I hold here, the box is always in the same place. We don't really, our center of gravity isn't really a box built in our chest. It's kind of more a location on the chest, and our upper body and the weight of our upper body affects our legs. So if he was in fact, or I'm going to disable health mode. If he was in fact reaching up here to kick this, there would be a bit of a knee bend. Let's undo, go to that frame. Okay, so right here, he would probably, his torso would lower a little bit because he would have weight applied. This would probably flatten out, and then we would bring that knee up, and then he would break it. The other problem is, let's see if I can use my eraser. The other problem is what I just showed, is that probably lining to this foot doesn't make any sense. What would actually happen is his center of gravity would change. So he's going to pivot on this foot. So we would probably want to drive that foot first, and then his body would probably be over here, and then it would compress against that. And then to come up with a more dynamic drawing, we would do something like that. And then also too, you could get probably a bit of a rotation in the head, so it's not just vertical. So these are the hands. Yeah. So what that does is it kind of, his center of gravity shifts when he's breaking the anger scribbles, and then he would then go back into a standing position and then look angry. I like that pose. I like this kind of hands too, though. Remember, the thumb wouldn't be on that side. It would probably be on the inner side, because hold your thumb ups and put them down on your waist, and you'll see that your thumb is probably on this, sorry, it's not drawing, this side, not on the other side of the hand. That would be another, just a quick design note. I think a lot of this could also use shifts of gravity. I think he's tapping his foot at a certain point too. Yeah, at the beginning. So that could use a bit of a timing thing. Maybe he's tapping his foot and you're just spending a little bit more time on this, where he's like, and maybe you put what's called a vibration. So a vibration is when you, instead of just creating a linear move of him putting his head down, if you think of the head move moving down as a spline, what it would be is it would be a vibrate. So it would basically have the frames shuddering down. So you go shaking and then releasing. So what that does is it creates a lot of tension. That'd probably be the only thing I would do when he's doing that. And then when he's tapping his foot, I feel like, yeah, right here, he'd probably be leaning more on, so wish this would draw, more on this leg. Yeah, or the way to think of it would be this leg would be more centered under his body. So if you look at his center line, his foot would probably be closer to here, so that his weight is pushed here. And then when you're tapping his foot, because you can't really put too much weight on a tapping foot, so the foot would be pushed to the side. If you really wanted to add something extra too, what would be fun is if this piece is maybe exploded or popped a little bit when they hit the floor, or maybe they hit the floor and then slide a little bit. That may not work too much. I'd also, same as BRM, I would probably add more time at the end so that the loop doesn't just completely go into a different loop. I think going a broader picture on this, what is the purpose? Why is he angry? So is the time of day? Is it like, I don't think it's super obvious. Is it maybe his lock is broken? I think that needs to be a little clearer. That would be probably the broader statement. And whenever you're thinking about a scene and how what it conveys, that's almost more important than what the actual like minuscule details of animating. Like, does what you're trying to convey make sense? Is it making sense? So those would be my big broader notes. Overall, looks nice. And I think that's about it. I hope this was helpful to see an open critique. I want to keep doing this, so if you want to send your critique to me, please either DM me on Reddit. My handle's Coretoons. You can also email me, coretoons@gmail. And I'd be more than happy to try to review it. At this point, probably review anything. So send what you have. Hopefully I get into a situation where I have to pick and choose. But right now, I'll look at anything. Thanks. Have a good night.